Alright guys, so let's go ahead and open up a new Adobe After Effects. So we're going to go to our Start menu. We're going to go to After Effects. So as it's opening, we're going to look to make sure down here on the icon, on the taskbar, we're going to right click on it and click Pin to Taskbar. That way it's always there. So now we have our start screen right here. It says New Project. So we're going to click on New Project. And then it gives us this. So we don't have anything going in there, but we're going to go ahead and do File, Save As, and Save As. I could also alternatively hit Control Shift and S to save as, and then we're going to rename the file Your Name Intro Graphics. Okay, so after we've navigated to Student Groups, Career and Technical, Chapman, Dropbox, whatever period you're in, your particular folder, and then I want a new folder, so I'm going to click New Folder up there. We're going to call it Unit 2 Intro Graphics. Okay, and then we're going to hit Open, and then I'm going to rename it whatever your name is. I'm going to call it Mr. Chapman Intro Graphics. I'm going to hit Save. Alright, so that'll count as some points. Now, we're going to get to work on the project. So the first thing that we need to do is, since we have a blank slate, we need to go to a new composition. So I'm going to hit the menu bar up here. I'm going to hit Composition, New. Alternatively, I can hit Control N to get a new composition. Now I need to rename this, change the composition name to Intro Graphics. Then I need to change from HD, it should be on HD TV 1080, and I'm going to change it to HD TV 720. What's up? I'm working on some stuff. Okay. Yeah. I thought there were some other people, but I'm not sure. We can do it anyway. Just say bullocks to the rest of you. Come up with the idea first. Let's not burden him with such more work that he needs right now. Yeah. So. No. We can ask for their input. We don't need girls. We don't need girl on the committee. They just complicate matters and put feelings into the mix. Yep, exactly. Sure. Alrighty. Alright. Bye. Okay, and we're going to change it to HDV HDTV 720 29.97. Okay, and then I want to leave everything as it is. Okay. So we're going to hit OK. Now we have this screen, we have our intro graphic down here, and this is where I'm going to add layers, and this is where I can preview it. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is I want to add some assets to my workspace. So over here under Project, I'm going to click in this big gray area. I'm going to right click, and I want to import multiple files. Okay, I'm going to navigate to Career and Technical, Chapman, Resources, Unit 3 Assets, and then we're going to select all of these files. Okay, I can do that by clicking on one, holding down the Shift, or I can just click and drag them all. And then I import. And it adds them all over there. And then I'm going to click Done when I've inserted them all. Alright, so then I'm going to pick one of these. It gives me a preview right there. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to drag it in there. So it's pretty zoomed in. So the next thing I want to do is right click on the preview, transform, fit to comp. So that fits it to the composition. So now it's the original picture file and it's fitted in the screen. Okay. Now I'm going to click on the layer up here and I'm going to click on new and I want to make it new text. So it automatically puts my word right in the middle of the screen. It changes my tool to the T, which is horizontal type. Okay, and then I'm going to just click there and I'm just going to start typing. And the first one needs to be called good. You can leave it uppercase or you can make it all capitalized. Okay, so then we're done. All right, we're going to click back to this tool right there. And I'm going to create 2 more layers. So another way to create a layer besides layer, new text, is to hit Control-Alt-Shift-T, or you can right-click over here where your other layers are and click New Text. So now it's blank, and I'm going to start typing, and I want morning. I'm going to repeat that process. Right-click New Text, and I'm clicking down here in the Intro Graphics panel down here. And then I have my cursor back up here. I'm going to say Cortez, or if you want to, you can make it say Colts. So now I need to go back and select this selection tool, the arrow tool. One thing that I want you to do is to make sure that we have a stroke around each of these words. So mine already did because that's how I already had it set up yesterday. But let's click on good, double click on it, and it selects it. Over here I'm going to change the fonts. Maybe I want something more interesting. I can change the size by clicking on the numbers. You see how your cursor looks like this. I can left click and then I can go to the right, increases, go to the left, decreases. Okay, let's make it a nice size though. And then over here, the next option down is the stroke overfill, or you can do fill over stroke, whichever one. And then you need to click this and increase it from 1 to maybe 3, but that's too much. So 1, 2, or 3 is usually about good. Okay, and then click with those, and then you can see how it changes. All right, so then we're going to click on morning, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to adjust the size. I'm going to change the font. Let's make a different one this time. And then I'm going to change the stroke. Okay, to 3. It makes it nice and it differentiates the foreground from the background. I'm going to go click on Colts over here in the layer. Okay, I can also use the selection tool and I can click on Colts right there. I'm going to change its size again. I'm going to change the stroke size again. There we go. Alright, the bigger the words, the bigger your stroke size can be. The smaller it is, the smaller it has to be. Okay, I can change the color of the words. So once I'm selected the words, I can click the foreground square and I can change the color and it goes to yellow. I can click on the back square, the fill square, and I can change the stroke on that one as well. So because we're Cortez and our colors are red, black, and white, I'm going to start with white and red. I'm going to click on good. I'm going to leave black fine. And then I'm going to click on the white background and I'm going to change that to red. And then I want to do a combination. Okay, so black and white, so then I want red, or we'll just figure it out. So click on this. Let's make this one red. Okay, and white. Right? Let's also make it black. So we're going to flip it. We're going to reverse it. So now we have these 3 assets, and I can click and drag on any of them and drag them around the screen. So I've adjusted the stroke, so now we're good. So we're going to go click on good first. I'm going to twirl down this triangle right there by clicking on it, and it gives me these options. So clicking on the sideways triangle and making it point down brings down these other options. Anything that has that triangle has other options underneath it. All right, so now I'm going to click on the word, see here it says animate. I'm going to click on the triangle right there, the circle triangle, and that's an animator, and I'm gonna add an animator, and the first one we're gonna add is position. Okay, I'm gonna click animator position. Okay, now I also want my timeline to be at 0, 0. It defaults there. Okay, so now I'm gonna hover over the first 0. I'm gonna drag to the left or to the right, or to the left, to the right. To the right makes it go to the right, left makes it go left. And I'm going to drag it all the way to the left until it goes off the screen. Once it is off the screen, I'm going to click the stopwatch right next to it. Okay, this sets a keyframe right here on the timeline cell to say that this animation will start right here. Then I'm going to move the time marker from 0, 0 to 0, 4. Okay, I can also do that right here. I can go right here and I can change this third 0 in to 4. And it moves my time marker to 4. And then I'm going to change and drag my numbers now all the way to the right until it goes to the right, all the way off the screen. Okay, and then that automatically creates the second keyframe to say this is what you need to do right there. Okay, now we're going to go to the preview panel. Preview is over here on this side of the screen. Right now we're on character, but I want to preview my work, so I'm going to click on preview. Then I have these options right there. Okay, I want to reset my timeline to the first frame, so I'm going to click this very left triangle. That changes my timer back to the beginning, and I'm going to hit play. If everything worked right, good, slides across my screen. Okay, and then we hit stop because we know that it worked. Now we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, we're going to select the morning layer. I'm going to twirl down. So then I'm going to go to right click animate. And I want to click scale next. So I'm going to click scale. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my 0, 0. I reset my timeline back to 0, 0. Then I'm going to click on scale, and I have 100 and 100, and they're linked. This chain means that the proportions are constrained and linked together. So I'm going to just click on the first one. I'm going to change 100 to 0. And it automatically sets the second 0 to, or 100 back to 0 as well. Then I'm going to click the stopwatch. So now at time 0, 0, morning is at 0 size. I'm going to go back and I'm going to drag my timer forward to 4. Then I'm going to change the 0 back to 100. So within 0 to 2 seconds, morning will be full size. Now I can change 100 to be something else. I can make it much bigger or smaller, but as you see it does weird things. So we're just going to leave it at 100. Okay, if I change my options up here to by word, then the 100 will do what I want it to do. Okay, make the whole thing big and whole thing small. But that we don't have to worry about that. We're just going to stick it at 100. That's advanced. Okay, so now change that to 100. We're going to preview all of this again. We're going to go back here, reset to 0, 0, and click play. And then we see good and morning come across the screen. That's what I want. Next, we're going to select the Colts or Cortez layer, whatever you have chosen. I'm going to click the plus sign down, and then I'm going to add another animation to this one. And this animation, I want rotation. Okay, rotation. The next thing I need to do is where it says more options, we're going to twirl that down. And I want the anchor point grouping to say, instead of character, to say word. That way the whole word gets rotated as opposed to each letter. So we're going to twirl that back up. I'm going to change my timeline back to 0, 0. right? And then on the rotation line, right here, I'm going to change this first 0, 0. I'm going to change it to 180. So it's completely upside down. Okay, I'm going to turn the stopwatch on. That says I'm going to start right here. I'm going to advance my timeline to 4. And then I'm going to change this to back to 0. So I can click on that and just type in 0. Okay, and then it already added the other keyframe. So now when I start at 0 and I go all the way forward, it's going to rotate it. Okay. Now we're going to preview it, make sure that we have completed our task. We're going to click there. I'm going to hit play. And now it plays. Okay, so then what you should really do is focus on rearranging this so it makes sense when it opens. Okay, so from there, the next set is to change some composition settings. Okay, so we're going to select composition. We're going to go to composition, composition settings, and then I need to change the duration. It's at 30 seconds right now, but we don't have 30 seconds of action, so I'm going to just change that to 0.5. I'm going to click OK. Now down here, now watch what happens. So I'm going to reset my preview. I'm going to hit play. So now it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and then it repeats it. Okay, that is the first one. All right, now we're going to hit stop. We're going to be done for today. And then the next lesson will continue on. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Export, okay, and we're going to render the project now. Okay, so our render settings, let's see, best 1280 by 720. We want to go output module. We do not want lossless. We want to go to format, and then let's see. Nope, we'll stop right there. Actually, we'll go to File, so once we've completed this, I don't want to do a render queue. Okay, we'll go to File, Export, Add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue. Boom. Then it's going to open up Adobe Media Encoder. It'll load it. Keep on loading. And keep on loading. And loading some more. And loading some more. Okay. Then it's going to load it right here. And if you look, it saves as an H.264, which is what we want. We're going to match it. This is fine. We're going to leave that alone. And then if we click right here, it's saving it to our folder as an Intro Graphics MP4, which is what we want. And then all I have to do is click the play button up here to start rendering. I'm going to hit play, and it's going to do all of this fancy magical work. And then it's going to render my animations. Done. All right, I can click on here. It's going to open up the location. I see my project. I see the Intro Graphics file. I click it, and now it plays. All right, so that is not something that looks like it should. So then you're going to have to make sure that it is good, and then morning, and then Colts.